presence starts with yourself as a speaker. So in this lecture, I'm going to take you through 3 things. Number 1, how to look after yourself on the day of your talk. Number 2, what happens if you are feeling sick? And I've got some techniques and tips for you if this might happen. And number 3, I've got some confidence builders just to get you into the zone of your presentation on the day of your talk. Let's start with yourself as a speaker. On the day of your talk, only drink room temperature still water. Room temperature because if you're drinking anything cold, it actually constricts your vocals, and so you don't end up sounding like you normally do. Try to stay away from any hot drinks like too much of coffee or tea. Just room temperature water, it hydrates your vocals. And remember to drink water at least 2 hours before your talk, because you've got 2 pipes in your throat, one to eat and one to talk. So it takes about 2 hours before your vocals are properly hydrated. As a speaker, have a bottle of water on hand, and not just to rely on the venue to provide this to you. At least then you always know that you are covered. The second last piece here is to eat a good meal on the day of your talk. It takes a lot of energy for you to be delivering at your peak, regardless if it's 10 minutes or 15 minutes or an hour and a half talk. So you want to manage your energy, sustain yourself for the day, and not too much of food at the same time, but enough to sustain you. And lastly, for this section, consider your level of fitness as a speaker. If you're going to be speaking professionally, your level of fitness does have a role on your energy state. And remember that you'll be carrying things. Sometimes you need to get off the stage and walk to the back of the room to deliver some handouts or to speak to a group of people. So you don't want to be one of those people who are unfit and just walking down a set of stairs to go to the back of the room and you're suddenly out of breath. It doesn't look good on you as a professional speaker. So your level of fitness does play a role in keeping your energy states at a certain high. That's number 1, about looking after yourself. Now let's look at number 2. What happens if you are sick on the day of your talk? So you get up in the morning and you're feeling a little bit sick. You first need to figure out what type of sickness do you have. Is it one of those sicknesses that is really viral and can be contagious? If it is, then I suggest that you stay at home. You don't want to be spreading those things around. Do you have speaking sickness? Just because of your nerves on the day, you suddenly just developed a sore throat, a light headache or something, and that's causing you to maybe think twice about your speaking. Or maybe you do have a genuine sickness. Perhaps you caught something the day before and now it's sort of spreading from your nose to your throat and ending up in your chest. What do you do? Number 1, like I said, see whether or not you can get through your presentation. For me, speaking is an opportunity, and sometimes these little sicknesses come through sort of to test your persistence and perseverance as to how are you going to be dealing with it on the day. I've been sick on days of my presentation and I still went ahead with it. So how did I get through? Number 1, learn to conserve your voice. So if you know you're going to be speaking for a set amount of time, don't speak beforehand. Conserve your voice. Drink more hot water just to keep your system flowing and to keep your vocals hydrated. Add a little bit of honey, just a little bit, not too much, into your hot drinks. Have more herbal teas. Just have a lozenge on the side just to keep your throat hydrated if you have a bit of a sore throat. What you don't want to be doing is to have this victim mentality. Oh, why me? It's not the right day to get sick. And you start off the day with that victim mentality and you go around telling people that you are sick. You even start off your presentation saying, I'm sorry everyone, I have a sore throat. Remember that your audience is there to receive a message from you. So don't take on this victim mentality. Rather put yourself in the shoes of remembering that it's a privilege to speak and for you just to deliver that message. At the end of your speech, you can thank the audience for their receptiveness, and how they have received this message from you. And then you can share with them that you were suffering a little bit with the cold or the flu. And they'll actually respect you a little bit more because you just still delivered your talk under those circumstances. What else can you do for your talk? Show more videos, have more group discussions, or get someone else to present with you and you presenting certain critical parts of your presentation. And this way you're still there on the day, but maybe not speaking as much as you would have spoken if you were well. And once you have completed your presentation, keep the Q&A session a bit short. And once you get through that, go home and rest it off, knowing that at least you have taken up the privilege and delivered your message on the day. So that's scenario number 2, if you are feeling sick. Let's look at scenario number 3, which is how to have the confidence on the day. I'll give you some confidence boosters. I've got 6 confidence boosters for you. Number 1 is a breathing technique. It's called the 7x7x7 technique. So when you are really stressing out a little bit just before your presentation, breathe in to the count of 7, hold your breath to the count of 7, and then breathe out to the count of 7. And you do that 7 times. And whilst you're doing this breathing technique, just focus on the breathing. Don't think of anything else. Just focus on the breath coming in, holding the breath coming out, and doing that whole process 7 times. Number 2 is rolling your shoulders. So roll your shoulders back and forth, stretch a little bit, because the tension of whatever you're feeling on the day of your talk tends to sit between your shoulder blades. So just shake your hands out a bit, roll your shoulders, and get that tension out. That's number 2. Number 3, be grateful. If you remember, at the beginning of this course, I spoke to you about the privilege of speaking. Someone has come to you because they believe in your skill, your knowledge, or your background, and they believe that you are the right person to deliver this message. So be grateful for this opportunity. And that leads me to number 4, is to think of your audience. So be a selfless speaker where you're giving your energy and your commitment and your skills and your knowledge to this audience. And not a selfish speaker where you're thinking of your own needs. Number 5 is the way you stand, the way you move on the stage. So don't walk on the stage with slouched shoulders. Stand up, put your head upright, put your body upright, and walk with purpose. And the same way as you shake someone's hands as you meet them in the audience, it's that confidence that your body postures and your whole movement shows that you are there as a powerful presenter. That's number 5. Number 6, I've used this technique many times and it works. When you are speaking, think of someone who you would like to sort of plant into the audience. It might be someone that you know, maybe it's a close friend or a family member or a work colleague. And if you knew that they were in your audience, that you'd give all your energy to that one person because that you knew that they were in the audience and you know that your message is intended for them. Who is that person going to be? Now, if you can imagine that you're speaking to that particular person and they are somewhere in the front row, then you make sure that whatever you do for the rest of your talk, you're doing it for that person, to make sure that that person gets it. And when you focus your mind in that way, then it takes your confidence to another level where you're not thinking about yourself, but you're thinking about delivering a message for that one person in the audience. And there you have it. 3 different ways that you can manage yourself. Number 1, by managing your energy. 2, looking after yourself if you happen to be sick on the day of your talk. And 3, confidence builders just before you're about to deliver. Let's go to the next lecture now, where I talk to you about neutrality and how to stay calm and composed regardless of what happens.